I'm just letting my moderator know that I'm on so that she can join. All right. So tonight we're just kind of going to go with an open behavior discussion. So whatever you would like to discuss, if you have any questions, please let me know. Any behavior or training questions, I'm open to discussing anything right now, behavior or training wise. But let me see if I can have the chat available for me to see. So I'm new to doing YouTube lives, and it's a little bit stressful because I like to feel like I know what I'm doing um, when I'm, serious about something, and I'm serious about my craft. Um, but everything is a learning experience, and I just have to allow myself to relax and let myself learn as I go with the lives. But so tonight I'm open to discussing any training or behavior question. Probably won't go super into detail if there ends up being a decent amount of people per topic, but we'll see how it goes. We're gonna wing it, and I'm excited because I did a test run yesterday and figured out how to get on live and make sure that um, everything was okay. Oh, I have a question here. Oh, it disappeared. Oh, okay. Sydney said, my dog acts very weird when my baby tries to touch him. How do I make him more comfortable? You don't allow the baby to touch the dog. So if he's showing signs of being uncomfortable, we have to listen to him and make sure that we don't leave any room for error. Um, Utilizing a baby gate would be great because is she crawling now? Is she mobile? I don't know how to bring the chat up where I can see it the entire time. Okay. Yeah, so sometimes what happens with dogs and babies is that when the baby is not mobile yet, the dog is, might be a little leery, but they're still okay with the presence of the baby. Now that they're moving fast, babies are unpredictable. And so if your dog has any anxiety, if they're hyper, it can cause the dog to be extra anxious around them. And that's kind of a recipe for a baby getting nipped, and we do not want that. So, what you'll want to do is utilize baby gates and try to work on making sure that you're not allowing that super close interaction. And I would actually recommend, possibly getting a muzzle. What is his reaction? What do you mean very weird? What is his body language like? I'm gonna have you send me a video. It's actually my sister-in-law. I'm trying to act like it's a stranger, but it's my sister-in-law and it's my niece. So, um, what is his body language like? It's super common for dogs to be uncomfortable with babies touching them, and it's unfortunate because the dogs are our babies and we want them to. Hey, Maria. Oh, oh, it already has you set as a moderator. Um, yeah. Okay. So don't allow him to get close enough to her for her to be able to grab his feet. A lot of dogs don't like having their feet touched, and babies usually go for like the dog's ears, their tail, um, and they have that death grip, and it makes dogs really uncomfortable. It takes a pretty mellow dog to be able to just be okay with whatever a baby delivers, and most dogs don't meet that criteria where they're just okay with everything a baby might do. Um, what you can do is work on um, when he's in the same room with the baby, work on his training so that he's associating her presence with something pleasant, practice a down stay with him. And I know she's still so young and you can't really tell her not to touch his feet, but let's just try to keep a safe distance. So if she's on the floor crawling around, he needs to be behind a baby gate unless unless there's an extra person home and you can have him on leash, and just to make sure, because all it takes is one tiny little nip on soft baby skin, and we don't want that to happen. Have you tried giving him any calming supplements? Have you tried giving him any calming supplements around since the baby's been around? Okay, that's good. Just trying to think how we can keep her from grabbing at him. It's kind of impossible to keep a baby from doing something they're determined to do. We just have to try and manage the dog. So, see, that's the tricky part, is because if they're normally fine together and he acts weird, hang on, typically happens when he comes into her room and I let her roam freely. I won't let him in anymore. Good. Good. That's great. I definitely agree with that. I wouldn't allow him in if she's on the floor. I mean, it's, crawling babies, they're so fast, and sometimes they can get to things way before we can, and we just don't want anything to happen. Do you have a baby gate up, or do you just have him do like a stay out command? Oh, Maria, I think we still have it set on the 60-second delay. It didn't ask me if I wanted to modify that. So, whoops. Okay, that's a good idea. Or a baby gate. That way he can see in, so that way he's able to feel like he's a part of whatever you're doing in there. If he wants to lay on the other side of the if he wants to lay on the other side of the baby gate, that's fine. That way he doesn't feel left out. But sometimes closing a door completely heightens anxiety and stress levels in dogs. Oh, great. That's good. I'd work on a good place command. Does it seem like it's doing double messages? Okay. I would just work on a place command and a downstay on his bed. If he seems like he's getting a little antsy ever around her, then just give him a timeout. Don't yell at him. Don't fuss at him or anything like that. Not that I think you yell at him, but don't fuss at him. Just make sure that we calmly remove him from the area, and give him time, give him space. But I think a baby gate would be a good idea, so that you could have a baby gate up in the doorway of the room where he can see in, but he can't get in there and she can't get to him. Oh, I just noticed my phone is plugged in, but it's not attached to the wall, so give me 1 second. Okay. You're welcome. If anybody else is in here and has a behavior or training question, please let me know. And also feel free to share. If you know somebody that needs assistance with any kind of behavior or training question, you can let them know so that they can come in here as well. Maria, did you share? I didn't share. I think I shared to my dog training Instagram, but not, or and dog training Instagram and Facebook, but I didn't share it to my personal page. Okay. So yeah, right now we're just doing an open discussion. Any behavior or training questions that you might have, just type it into the live chat. And Maria, can you share it? I shared it to my Instagram and Facebook story. So, and I just messaged a couple of people individually and told them. This is still kind of a test run, but I feel like I know more about what I'm doing on this live business now. Maria, can you like shoot a question out? Or do you have anything to add to the baby and dog interaction? Maria is actually my colleague, and she has been training dogs for years and years longer than me. She's retired, but I'm kind of trying to pull her out of retirement. Part-time, maybe full-time, with doing things online. So she really, really enjoys working with dogs, just as I. That I can't, my chat keeps disappearing on here. I don't know how to keep it up. Welcome to live chat, remember. Might accidentally exit out of here. No, I don't know how to keep the chat up. He pulls. Okay, I'm reading your comment now. Okay, so hang on. I'll get to your question in a second, Maria. Back to the dog baby interaction. It says, so Atlas is very anxious when we first go out on walks, like he pulls a lot and then calms down. This behavior prevents me from walking him when I walk with my baby. Yes, that's frustrating. Some dogs get really almost like overly excited to get out on the walk and they're charging ahead. What can really help with that is to, when possible, take the time to get him out by himself and get him out by himself for a walk and make it a training walk. You bring treats with you, a very, very high value treat. I usually like to, sorry, my phone is shaking. I usually like to use freeze-dried beef liver or freeze-dried salmon, something really, really smelly that they don't get for anything else. With Zelda, I usually go with salmon because she's sensitive to a lot of things. But I did try beef liver and she was fine with that. So Zelda has a very similar temperament to Sydney's dog, who I'm responding to. Hyperactive, kind of high strung, boxer-ish mixes. And so they have an intense level of energy when they get excited. And are you using a gentle leader on him, Sydney? Are you using the head collar or a harness, or what's going on with his leash equipment? Oh, it says there's a message here that I don't see. Okay. Oh, well, with the harnesses, they're able to pull us, and he's not a small dog. So, I would recommend getting a gentle leader for him. And I did post some videos on gentle leaders, how to fit them. And I did one with Zelda and one with Gizmo, my smaller dog. Um, so with the gentle leader, it allows us to have some assistance redirecting their pull. When we put a harness on a dog, especially a dog that's like got the deep barrel chest and they're super muscular built, they're just able to use all of their strength to pull us, and they will like dig down into the ground and really get some leverage to pull. If we use a harness, it's not helping us control them. They're just not choking like they would be on a collar. If we use the gentle leader, we've got the ability to have control of the animal by the head. So the gentle leader is on their head. We're redirecting their body by redirecting their head direction. And so I would recommend getting a gentle leader. Atlas would be a large in the gentle leader, and you can find them on Amazon like almost half price than what they charge in the store. But Get a gentle leader for him. He would wear a size large, and I would get some high value treats and practice the walking out of the door exercise. So make sure that you have time, because it might take you 5 minutes to get like out of your door, off your porch, and onto the sidewalk. You're just going to literally stop every time he puts any bit of tension on the leash. You're going to stop and have him sit. Okay, so you can reward him. You can practice watch me. Um, what does that mean? Um, Hi, I don't know what that means. So you can use watch me, and you can use the watch me command to make him pay attention to you or help him pay attention to you. And you can use the sit command and just keep on stopping and making him sit. So we're teaching him that we're not going anywhere as long as he's pulling. What happens when a dog is excessively pulling is that, oh, thanks, Maria. um, so what happens when a dog is excessively pulling is that they learn that when they pull, they get where they want to go, because dogs respond to what our reaction is to their behavior. So if they're pulling and we continue to walk and we continue to go in the direction that they want to go in, they learn that pulling gets them where they want to go. Thanks, Maria. They learn that pulling gets them where they want to go. If we work on stopping every single time they pull, then they understand that when they pull, we don't get to go anywhere. Okay, so sometimes that's not enough for the really intense dogs, because they work themselves up. If it's only the first part of the walk that he's pulling, I think if you work on just stopping and slowing his little mind down, going out of the door, getting down, off of the porch, down the sidewalk, he will understand that we're not barreling out of the door ever. He's so big, like you don't want him to pull you down the stairs, and like you said, if you have the baby, he could throw you off balance, and but you'll have way more control with the gentle leader. And it is quite likely that, because he's not a puppy, it's quite likely that when you put the gentle leader on him and start walking him with it, you could probably just walk him with 2 fingers. He probably will not pull that much at all, if any, because he's not a puppy, and it shouldn't be so intense. It also helps calm them down a little bit, just because of the position of it on the bridge of their nose and the back of their head. But please check out those 2 videos that I posted on it. I will do a walking tutorial video. Do it with Zelda. She's more likely to pull out of getting overly excited when she sees like a squirrel or another dog, if I give her enough leeway. but definitely when my daughter, when Manny is walking her, maybe I should film that. We could go to a park or something and then show you how to work on stopping when he's pulling, or anybody. I'll post it so that everybody can see. What does that mean? Uh-oh. Okay. Does that make sense? I don't have one of the leaders to show you now. Oh, Maria, can you add the link to the gentle leader videos in the chat? Okay, good. So Maria, what was your topic that you said? You were saying something. The chat keeps disappearing. I don't know how to stop it from disappearing, but I think just because it's on my phone. Feeding multiple dogs and how to manage that. Okay. So it really just depends. I usually prefer to have them separated when they eat just because, you know, even if you have dogs that have never displayed any resource guarding toward each other whatsoever, I still don't think it's a great idea to try to feed them side by side because it could happen. And sometimes, I mean, with resource guarding, it has to happen for us to know that it's a possibility. And I'd rather just not even chance that. Okay. So is that, oh, that's the gentle leader video. Thank you. With feeding multiple dogs, like in my case with the new dog that I got, that I rescued, he has a tendency to resource guard, and with Bones, I don't allow Bones, toys, or food when both dogs are in the same room. Zelda's not a resource guarder. She's more likely to hide a bone so the other dog can't get it, if I'm dog sitting or something. Then resource guard, she'll hide it because she does have anxiety, but it's not where she's like resource guarding. However, Gizmo will resource guard random things. He's resource guarded a box. He's multiple times, different boxes, but he has a thing against boxes, or I think 4 boxes. But with the with the feeding multiple dogs, I just usually recommend making sure that they're separated. I know that generally speaking, we might want to only have dog bowls in one spot of the house, but sometimes it's just not worth chancing there being an issue. So my routine with these dogs is that because Zelda is more reliable with her obedience commands, she's older. I've had her since she was a puppy. So I can go ahead and get Gizmo's food together. And if they're both out while I am getting his food, I've got him trained that as soon as I get a scoop of food and go to put it in his bowl, I say crate. He runs to his crate and sits in his crate and waits. I put the food in his crate, close it, he eats, and then I feed Zelda. So I just go ahead and eliminated that entire situation where we might have to worry about a possible fight because Gizmo does have a tendency to resource guard, although he has not shown that he will resource guard a food bowl. He's displayed and presented the behavior in other scenarios, and I'd just rather not chance it. And honestly, if he didn't resource guard, if I'm dog sitting someone else's dog in my house and they don't have any issues like with interactions with other dogs, I still wouldn't feed them side by side. I would feed them separately, um, on different ends of the house downstairs, or one upstairs and the other downstairs, just because it's not worth chancing, in my opinion. Um, I've been training dogs for over 15 years. My daughter's 16. Yeah, 15 years. I've been training dogs for 15 years, and anytime I have multiple dogs in my house, I just separate with feedings. And it's not because, I've had dogs have a fight over food, but I just don't like to chance it. I don't So, yeah, so when you're working with even just one dog, I like to teach dogs that if I'm getting their food together, I like to have a reliable wait command. So, if I'm getting your food out of the container, I don't want a dog rushing up on me and begging for food, jumping up at me and, being pushy, overly excited. No, I want them to sit and wait on the opposite side of the room, out of my space. and and I have them wait, and I train them where I put the bowl down and I can walk away from the bowl, and then I give them the command to eat. And that minimizes a lot because that shows that I'm in control of the food. This is not your food. This is my food until I give it to you. Um, and and then I move away from it just because it makes some dogs uncomfortable when you're close to their bowl while they're eating. Like I said, I haven't had any issues with that personally in my own household with dogs, but I just don't like to chance it. I like to have structure, and I like for there to be very clear rules. You are to sit and wait. I put the bowl down and I walk away, and then I give permission to eat. And I even take it a little bit further, which some people aren't, you know, too keen on. But I like to make sure that, like, if Zelda, it could be her first meal of the day. She's hungry. She wants to eat, but I can put the food down, give her the wait command. She's waiting. Give her permission to eat. And in the middle of her eating, I can say wait, and she backs up and sits because she's waiting for me to give her the command to go ahead and finish her food. And I practiced that with her and the other dogs that I've had. I haven't done it with Gizmo yet. He's still decompressing, and we'll work on that. But the reason why I like to teach that is because sometimes, like my previous dog, she would eat so fast that she would choke, and like her eyes would be watering. And even with the slow feeder bowl, sometimes she would just grab so much food and literally be choking. And I would work on giving her the wait command so that she could take a pause and actually swallow her food before getting more food into her mouth. And then sometimes when they're eating something, somebody say something. Um, okay, so Sydney said we never created a schedule for our dog to eat. We just leave food out and he eats at his leisure. Was that a miscalculation? So, a lot of people free feed their dogs their entire lives and never have an issue. The only thing that makes me super nervous about that, especially with a baby in the house, is that sometimes having free feeding, leaving the food down all the time, sometimes that can be a recipe for a dog to resource guard, and we might not even notice that they're guarding it. Sometimes they'll have food in the bowl and they're kind of casing the bowl throughout the day. When people walk by, I don't know if I've seen this happen where dogs will, they're like watching the bowl from a distance. And when somebody goes to walk by, they'll get up, and there's no aggression that you can see with their body language or anything, but they'll get up and then they'll go and like nibble on the food just because someone went near the bowl. Um, and so it just makes me a little nervous to have food down all the time because sometimes the dog might not resource guard against you adults, might not resource guard against your kid, but you could have company over and the dog might decide you're not allowed to go near my bowl of food, that's mine. And then we have a problem because if we don't know that it could be an issue and they go after somebody. So I just like to make sure that I'm in control of the food bowl. The dogs need to know that they need me to feed them. And it makes them more likely to work for their food. With free feeding, the dog is kind of like not really, well, Scheduled feedings helps with potty training, number one. Um, Free feeding, we don't know when they're full. We don't know when they have to use the bathroom. But if they're, good with their potty training and they're able to tell us that they need to go outside, that's okay. But I like to I like to make sure that I know when they've eaten, so I know when they need to go to the bathroom. I pretty much have a timer. Wait, let's see. Okay, so Maria said it's also nice to know how much your dog has eaten in case you need to save your dog. Take your dog to the vet. They are more than likely going to ask how much your dog ate and when they ate. Yeah, that's true. That's true too. Um, yeah. So let me read Sydney's comment here. I have yet to think about the baby part. I have always messed with him while eating or getting a treat. Good. Hopefully prevent that from happening. So yeah, that's good, to get them used to like knowing that we can come near you while you're eating and we don't want your food. I'm not going to steal your food. But just practicing an exercise where you're, I would, with Nala, when she was a puppy, I would go over to her and toss a treat in her bowl while she was eating and walk away. So that she associated me with something pleasant. Coming near her bowl was a pleasant experience. She gained something. I didn't take anything from her. She came from a large litter and they were all sharing the same bowl. And I think the mom and the dad had attacked the puppies while they were eating because they were sharing a bowl with the adults. And so she would scarf her food down like she was never getting another meal. And I wanted to make sure that resource guarding was never an issue with her. So that's why I started with the whole exercise of making her sit and wait and then toss a treat in her bowl and then walk away. Or I would have her sit, wait, I'd pick the bowl up and then put something really tasty in, like a little tiny piece of bacon or a piece of a hot dog or something like that. So she understood that she got something better than what she was eating with me approaching her bowl and touching it. Um, with Zelda's not really like a super eater. Now she eats better now that there's another dog in the house because she feels like she has competition, I think. But I didn't have to use a slow feeder bowl for her for a while, and we just brought it back out because I think that she's her behavior changed a little bit with the food, but it's not like aggressive. She just likes to make sure that she's getting her food in. So with the baby, that's something that concerns me is like I wouldn't want food to be in a dog's bowl when there's a crawling baby on the floor. Um, and the same thing goes with his bones, his toys. It's just not worth chancing that because even if he isn't being aggressive, if he's trying to redirect the baby from doing something, touching his toy or touching his bone. Um, I don't know if you've ever seen dogs interact, but they redirect with their mouth. And so sometimes dogs have a tendency to treat children like puppies because they're on their level, they're small, and it's a baby. Um, so we don't want even a nip of him trying to let the baby know, hey, don't touch that, that's mine. And he's got big teeth. Um, so I would just make sure that if she's on the floor crawling around, there's no toys that she could go near where he might want to go guard them, protect them, take them from her, and definitely not food. So I mean, the feeding schedule, it doesn't have to be militant or anything like that. I feed twice a day. It's leisurely. I will some mornings they get fed at 9 a.m. Some mornings they get fed at 11 a.m. And then at night they get fed around 6, 5, 5:30, 6 o'clock. Um, but it just makes sure that I have a designated, well, that I know what they're eating, how much they're eating, and that I have a designated time frame that I know they need to go potty outside. It's definitely helpful when you don't have a yard that the dogs can go in and out all day. I have to do leashed walks for potty breaks. I mean, I don't do a walk for every potty break, but there's grass that I have to take them over to. Let me see. Um, he is not possessive of toys. He just wants someone to throw it. That's good. But just sometimes their behavior can change with a baby around. Like when my niece was here, um, I'm always very like overly conscious of my dog's behavior around anybody that she's not around every day. And that's most people that come over because I don't have people over my house every day. And definitely little people. So, and I'm referring to little people as even my daughter's friends, and they're teenagers, but to me they're still babies. Um, so when there's kids over, I'm like, don't get face level with her while she has something in her mouth. She doesn't resource guard, but she might because she's a dog. Um, and so with babies, if a dog has a toy in their mouth, like it's a different interaction with us adults. So he knows that we will throw the toy for him. Okay, so baby, she's not going to throw the toy for him yet, but she might want to grab it and reach for it. And we just don't want anything to happen where he feels like he doesn't want her to have the toy and tries to grab it and it's in her hand. So now her hand is in his mouth, you know? Does that make sense? So it's not that like okay, um, he's aggressive. No, it's just making sure that we don't have any issues. It's not ever assuming that there could never be an issue because with dogs, it could always be a possibility. It makes me like so anxious when I go on. I'm just such a Debbie Downer when I see like these videos of babies with dogs that should be cute. It really should be cute. And it kind of is, but then I'm like, oh my gosh, they're letting that baby crawl in the dog's back. Like um because you just don't know. Like the dogs can be stressed, and people that are not trained to recognize the signs of the dog being stressed, they could be very, very subtle. And if you're not familiar with dog body language, sorry, if you're not familiar with dog body language, then you're not aware of like, hey, the dog is like being very patient and lightly warning. Um, by the time a dog growls, they've already delivered a couple of subtle body languages. Okay. And by the time they bite, that's their last resort. I mean, most dogs, they're overly warning us. And so that's why it's always like when someone tells me, hey, my dog bit out of nowhere, I've got a lot of questions because it's not very common for a dog to bite out of nowhere. There were signs and we miss them. And we need to backtrack and figure out like where those signs were happening, what the situations were, what our response to it was. Did we increase their anxiety? Did we yell at them while they were anxious? Like we have to try and dissect every single part of the scenario and figure out what happened. Um, I'm not the one to be like, oh yeah, that dog's aggressive. no, I want to make sure that we're ruling out everything. Like, does the dog have a medical issue that nobody discovered? Um, is it hurting? Does it have like hip dysplasia, and it's just in pain, and when you touch a certain part of its body, it's hurting it. We have to figure out exactly what's going on with them. But usually, with people that have, small children or babies, um, usually if they bite somebody, it's like they say it happened out of nowhere, but there's signs that we should look out for, and there's just preventative measures that we can take to make sure that we don't have that issue. I can tell you right now, if I my baby is 16, but if I had a baby tomorrow, I love Zelda. I trust Zelda for the most part, but I wouldn't let her around my baby unsupervised. Because I know she has some anxiety. She's a little high strung, and yeah, it wouldn't be worth chancing that. I would have baby gates up. I would make sure that there were no toys down on the same level where the baby could reach while she was in the room and stuff like that. There would just be There's a lot of rules that need to happen just to make sure that we don't have any issues. So it's just about being prepared and making sure that we're taking preventative measures instead of trying to fix a situation after it's already happened. Yeah. So, you know, I I try not to sound like, super militant or whatever, but there's just, I always have the best interest of the dogs and, human safety in mind when I'm thinking of like interactions with small children and your dog, or strangers and your dog. Um, the little dog that I just rescued, Gizmo, he's fear aggressive. I would never let him around either one of my nieces without a muzzle on, because he cannot be trusted. He'll get startled, and so even with like Manny's friends, when my daughter's friends come over, I have a muzzle on him when they get in the door, and he's on leash, and usually I just keep him with me until he's like calm and he's not trying to bark or anything, and then I tell them not to look at him. I walk him over, and if he's calm and sniffs at them, and then like he'll let people know when he wants attention from them, like he'll paw them or like nose them or something like that. And chances are, if somebody's sitting down, he will jump on their lap and he wants attention, but I keep that muzzle on because I just don't even want chance having an issue. Um, Even though he's not actively barking or growling, I know that the tendency is there, and I don't want to take any chances, not with anyone else's child, not with my own small child, but he's perfectly fine with my daughter. But it took him maybe a week to warm up to her. Not sure what happened with him. Um, I rescued him because my client had to go into hospice care, and she passed away. And so I ended up with him. I inherited him. And yeah, before she had him, he was at an animal shelter and he was about a year old. So they found him on the street. We don't know what happened to him. I think he wasn't socialized, and I think somebody hit him because he does have um, startle reflex issues where I've like moved my hand a certain way and he like cowered down and winced, and it hurt my feelings because, you know, I don't want him to ever think I would hit him. So I've actually been working on desensitizing him, which is good to do with babies too. Not desensitizing the baby, desensitizing the dog when you have a baby. So this is really silly, and I've had people give me weird looks, but I feel like it's beneficial. So with Nala, when she was little, even though my daughter was a baby at that time, so she was, seeing fast movements and weird stuff, I just wanted to make sure that my dog was not going to be like startled by something weird that a baby was doing. So I would just like, I'd run up to her and go, "Wah!" and like move my hands around in her face and then throw a treat in her mouth. So she knew that anytime something crazy like that was happening, she was being rewarded for it. You know, it wasn't anything scary. So I worked on like, I would just hold her tail and keep feeding her treats. And then I would hold her ears and keep feeding her treats. So I'd pop treats in her mouth with one hand, and I would, you know, hold on to her ear. I would hold on to, not hard or anything like that. I wasn't hurting her, but I would just like hold on to her lip and give her a couple of treats. And because kids do weird stuff and they like to grab dogs, and we just want to make sure that if it ever happens where she grabs him, or you know another kid grabs him, that he's not going to be super startled. That's what I want. That's what my goal with Nala was as well, and because she was a big dog, like him. And with Zelda, I do the same thing. Like I like to move my hands really fast around her face, and then I'll give her treats. um, and I'm working on doing some of that with Gizmo, because he has some issues with hands moving toward him, and I use hand signals. And I also, as you can see, I talk with my hands a lot. So even if I'm just having because I'm used to using hand signals, I'm like usually, probably should have been a what is that called? The conductor. Um, Hang on, trying to see what's going on in the chat here. So we've got some more people in here. If anybody has any questions about any behavior or training, please feel free to post a comment in the live chat and I will answer your question. If you'd just like to tell me about your dog, that's fine as well. But Sydney, does that make sense? Like the whole desensitizing? Oh, okay, thanks, Maria. Does that make sense about like desensitizing? Just, you know, moving your hands around in front of his face and grabbing his ear and holding onto his lip and giving him a treat, touching his paw, giving him a treat, touching his paw, giving him a treat, just to help desensitize. Because even if we try to, you know, we're going to make sure that she doesn't really have many opportunities to do that, then we want to make sure that if it does ever happen, it's not something that is totally abnormal to them and throws them off to the point where they just get like super stressed out about it. So I like to make sure that we're ruling that out. Kids are unpredictable enough, and if we can help our dog understand that unpredictable doesn't mean scary, then we need to try and work on, you know, desensitizing them and just doing weird things. Um, I was gonna say, like, sometimes I would just like randomly just like scream, not like super loud, but just like like just to make sure that it wasn't going to like make her peel out and run or something like that. Zelda has a noise sensitivity, sound sensitivity, and she startles not super easily, but if it's a very loud noise, she gets scared and she runs. She doesn't want to fight. It's like, you know, the fight or flight reflex. She hides. Thunderstorms, fireworks, she wants to hide. If the rabbit is, he's a little crazy, and he gets an attitude sometimes if we're laughing, if people are like making noise and having a good time, or the bird is talking, the rabbit starts stomping. So that stomping makes Zelda scared, and she runs in the bathroom and hides, or goes into my daughter's room and hides because she doesn't like the loud noise. If I start singing, she runs and hides. It's not because I have a terrible singing voice. It's because of the noise. That's what we're going to say. I wish this chat didn't keep disappearing. I don't know how to keep it up on my phone. It didn't disappear on the laptop when I did the test run yesterday, but the video quality on my laptop is not as good as the quality of video on my phone. But I have to keep touching the screen and touching the chat button to pull it up so I can see what's going on, because it's not popping up automatically. I mean, I don't need to look at myself. I need to see what's going on in the chat. Sorry, my phone is moving. The mount is a little wobbly because it's like a little spring thing that you form to try and position. But yeah, so if anybody has any other behavior questions, Sydney, if you... I accidentally exited out of there. Whoops. Is everybody still there? Everyone, please let me know that you're still there. I was trying to pull up the chat button and it, I think, exited me out. Can everyone just like send a wave button that you're still here? Okay, perfect, perfect. Sorry about that. Like I said, I'm still learning how to use this and I'm trying to keep the chat up, and as long as nobody's commenting, it just disappears until I manually pull it up. It glitched. Okay, got it. Yeah, it like totally took the screen away from me and opened up a website because I accidentally touched a button. I'm not even sure what that button meant, but I'll have to figure that out. So hi to anybody that is in here and hasn't said anything. Feel free to just send a wave. Even if you don't have a question, just let us know that you're here. Like the video and share it if you feel compelled to share it for me. I need some new subscribers. I want to be able to post in the community tab so I can announce when I'm going live on YouTube instead of having to do it on Instagram and Facebook. And then also, you know, if you subscribe to my channel and you hit the notification bell, it will tell you when I'm going live. I think that's all you have to do. If you hit the notification bell, it's going to ask you if you want to be alerted for some other stuff, and just go ahead and say yes, that you want to be alerted when I like upload a video or go live or something like that. So we've been discussing, we have gone over, actually, what is an Okanoba? What? Maria? It says, Jasmine, can you talk about feeding, whether it's better to feed out of a food bowl, a, that says that's supposed to be treat pouch. Oh, a Kong or a Buster Cube. Okay, I speak Maria. You're using talk to text, aren't you? All right. So, okay. Well, that just really depends. So with certain dogs, certain behaviors, if you're having a hard time getting your dog to work. Yeah, I know, Maria, I figured. So Maria uses talk to text because she can't type very well or very fast with her fingers, so she's using talk to text. And please excuse any typos. I'm used to trying to like translate her stuff, because of course we know talk to text will have us looking crazy sometimes. So anyway, so she was asking for me to cover feeding and whether it's better to feed out of a feeding bowl, treat pouch, a Kong, or a Buster Cube. And if you have a hyperactive dog that we just need to mentally tone down, like an intense dog. So Gizmo is a little bit intense. And when I first got him, he would not eat dog food because he was used to eating whatever the owners were eating. And he was turning his nose up to dog food. They gave me some refrigerated soft dog food that he had been eating but wasn't really eating. And they said he wouldn't eat dry dog food. He wouldn't work for treats. He was being a treat snob. And I was like, yeah, no, this is not going to fly at my house. You need to eat whatever I offer you. So, what I ended up doing with him, because he wasn't really working for food, he was deciding whether he wanted a treat or not, and then working if he felt like he approved of that treat. And just because he took the treat one time didn't mean he wanted that same treat the next time. He wanted to switch it up. And I don't do that because it's very hard to work with a dog when they're constantly changing up like what their preference is. No, we need to fix this. So with Gizmo and with other clients, what I have people do is I don't want to say starve them out because that sounds bad. So we're not starving them out, but you will eat what I offer you or you're not eating. So I'm not withholding food from you. I'm offering food. I offered him food, dry dog food. I offered him dry dog food about 3 times a day, and I would leave it down for about 15 minutes at a time and take it away. So I had a total amount of food that is like, the total amount of food that a dog for his size and age needs. Total amount of food for the day that I would place down, but I split it into 3 feedings. If I put the bowl down and he didn't eat it within 15 minutes, take it away, put it back down, midday feeding. If he didn't eat it, take it away. And that would be the first and second food combined into one feeding. He didn't eat it. So about 48 hours after me offering him food and him refusing it, and it's not bad food. I don't feed cheap um, not good for them food to my dogs because nutrition is very important. And so about 48 hours after giving him, this is what you're getting. If you don't eat it, you got to wait till I offer it to you again. Then he started working. And so at that point, what I was doing is feeding it to him from my treat pouch. So now you're working for your food. You're working for every piece of dog food that you get from me. Because he came with some behavior issues. Like I need to be able to work this dog and give him, have him work for food. So I would take him for a walk and I'm giving him dog food, not treats, because I needed him to eat dog food. I didn't want him to think that if he didn't eat dog food, he's going to get treats. No, if you're hungry, you're going to work for this food. And so for him, and this is what I have clients do. What did you say, Maria? Okay, Sydney, hold on one second. So with dogs that, get snooty about food, like I said, I just do a feeding schedule and I take it away, and then I started having him work for the food from my treat pouch, and that was for everything. You're getting a couple of pieces. Of course, if we're feeding an amount of dry dog food that they would need for the entire day, I'm not giving one piece at a time because that's ridiculous. That's a lot of work. So I would have him perform a couple of commands and give him 5, 10 pieces of food at once. Or we're walking, you get 3 treats for sitting on the walk. You get 3 treats for going potty outside, or they're not treats, they're pieces of dog food, mind you. Um, so after that point, then I started doing the bowl for the feedings, and I would only put one meal in the bowl, and then I would put the rest of the food for his day in a treat ball. There's treat balls, there's Buster Cubes, and there's Kongs. When I'm feeding regular like dog food kibble, I prefer not to have them work it out of a Kong unless I have like a bigger treat that I can plug it with so that they have to work and pull the bigger treat out, because the small pieces of dog food just fall out too easily. And I like for there to be more of a challenge. Um, so I had this treat ball um, that rolls around and dispenses the food. And I didn't lose the Buster Cube, Maria, but I can't locate it. I think I put it away and I forgot where I put it. It's here somewhere. Um, but like I said, I'm gonna locate that this week. I've got to go into my storage closet and see what's in there. I think I put all those toys that you brought over in a bag in the storage closet. So I just have to dig in there and find it. But so a Kong is a cone shaped toy. One moment, let me go grab one. Hold on. All right. Sorry about that. Okay. So this is a Kong. So as you can see, this is a large opening here. All right. So if we're feeding from a Kong, we need a treat big enough to plug this hole up, or you can add peanut butter, but I don't want to add peanut butter to like a meal that I'm feeding a dog. Only if it's like a desperately needed, like I've got people coming, like maintenance people coming in or something like that, and I need to keep the dog busy. I will freeze a Kong with dog food, maybe like one or two treats, and seal it off with peanut butter at the top of it and freeze it so that it takes a long time for them to work it out of there. And so it's good for separation anxiety, stuff like that, but it's also good to work a hyperactive dog that's got a lot of mental energy. Let's see. Okay, so, all right, hang on, I'll get to those. So yeah, I just wanted to show you what the Kong is. So this is a treat dispensing toy. The black one is for super tough chewers. So this would be like Rottweiler, Doberman, Pit Bull, Labs. Sometimes a Chihuahua needs a black Kong, but it would just be a smaller one. I don't have, yeah. But anyway, this is like the size for a Lab, and then this would be the size for like a Beagle. They do have sizing charts on here, and yeah. So Kong does have their own. This is peanut butter, but it does. Oh, they changed it. So it is just peanut butter, but we can also give them regular peanut butter. Just make sure if we are adding peanut butter to our dog's diet or treat regimen, that we're looking at the label and making sure that it does not contain xylitol. A lot of peanut butters for a while were containing xylitol, which is, I think it's an artificial sweetener, but it's highly toxic to dogs. Okay, so just make sure that if you are planning on if you're planning on giving your dog peanut butter, you're buying peanut butter for the dog, or you're just, hey, I've got peanut butter here, I'll use this. Look at the label, please. Make sure it does not have xylitol in it. It starts with an X. It's like XY. I'm trying to spell it. It starts with an X, but it's called xylitol. XYLITOL, something like that. So usually, I know like here locally we have Publix, and they have natural peanut butter that they make, and where it's just ground up peanuts, and you can get it from the deli section in the tub. There's Aldi. Aldi has a natural peanut butter, and that's the one that I use for us and for the dog. We don't really eat peanut butter. There you go. Thank you, Maria. Thank you. So yeah, just make sure that your peanut butter doesn't contain xylitol. You don't have to buy the overpriced Kong peanut butter for stuffing the Kong. They come in a pack bigger than this if you did want to do it, but this is like, it's an alcohol sugar. Got it. Okay, I thought it was artificial. Is that's an artificial sugar, right? But yeah, xylitol is highly toxic. So anyway, if you're feeding from a Kong, you just will need to get a larger treat to plug it up. They do have Kong biscuits that they make for Kongs, but you can use any treat. Cheese Whiz. Yeah, you could do Cheese Whiz. Cheese Whiz. You could do low fat, unflavored yogurt. You could do low fat, unflavored cream cheese. um, so anyway, feeding from a Kong will help just make them work for their food and tone down some mental energy. A Buster Cube, I wish I had it to show you. It's a cube shaped, very hard plastic toy that looks like a rolling dice. Or is it called a rolling die? So it's the one I have, Maria actually gave me, but it's red and it has a hole in it. You can put their dry dog food in it, shake it up, and then let them go to town on it. And like some dogs will tear through it. They like just flip it, throw it across the room, hit it, smack it up against the wall, and food comes out of it. But it's like a treat ball, but it's a cube, so they have to roll it and figure out how to get it on the side where food might dispense out of it. So that is a good activity for a dog that just needs to get mental energy out. And I think it will be really good for Gizmo. He does well with a treat ball. He's not afraid of stuff like that. Zelda is afraid of the Buster Cube because it makes noise. When it smacks against the hard surface floor, she runs. So my sensitive girl doesn't appreciate the Buster Cube, but she does like a Kong. She will do anything for a Kong, a stuffed Kong, and she gets her feelings hurt if I give Gizmo one and don't give her one. What's that? Is that a Buster Cube that you just sent the link to? And so I just want to give this disclaimer that none of the products, unfortunately, I wish I did, but maybe they should sponsor me. None of the products that I recommend pay me. None of them. But I've been using them for years. So the Kongs, I know it's reliable. I know that this is okay to leave your dog with. Sometimes the dogs that are hard chewers, like tough chewers, they don't do well with the red one because they can still figure out how to like chew chunks off of it. So that's what the black one is for. So I just recommend that anytime you're giving them something like this or a Buster Cube, we're not leaving them unsupervised with it until we've observed them over a period of time and make sure that they're going to be safe with it and they're not going to hurt themselves by eating a piece off of it. Okay, so let me go ahead and go on here and see what was being said. So Sydney asked, speaking of nutrition, what do you suggest for an 80-pound pit mix, no food issues? Really, it really just depends. No food issues. I would say my general thing is like I don't have a certain brand that I endorse, because there's so many gourmet and premium dog foods out there now that it's ridiculous. And I just tell people, generally speaking, we look at the ingredients, they can't lie to us about the order of importance. So make sure, like, we don't need to be paying for a dog food that is full of wheat, corn, soy, or any byproducts. Okay, so if we rule all those things out, then my next thing is just look on the label and make sure that at least the first ingredient is a real meat. Okay, some of these dog foods don't contain any meat in them whatsoever. Like the cheaper dog foods don't contain any meat. And what I always tell clients is that, like, it's the equivalent of us eating nothing but cornbread with vitamin supplements. You're going to be full. Okay, yeah, you're getting your vitamins, but no. I want to know where these vitamins are coming from. I like seeing that there's blueberries in this food. I like seeing that there's yogurt in it. There's probiotics in it from yogurt. That's where it's coming from. There's the fiber in it is from like oatmeal. It doesn't have to be a grain-free food. And yes, Sydney, grain-free foods, they say are not great for some dogs to be on because it can cause an issue. I think it was like, please don't like super quote me. I'm not a veterinarian, but I work with a lot of people, and I have spoken to a lot of vets about it, and some have like mixed things, and maybe I'll bring a vet on. That's actually a good idea. Maybe I'll bring a veterinarian on one day, and we'll have a chat about food. But my understanding is that with the grain free, some dogs can develop issues, health issues from the configuration of like the legumes in the food, and something just doesn't agree. But there are some dogs that are literally allergic to grains, and so if your dog is allergic to grain, well, sometimes they need to not be on it. When Zelda was younger, she was very sensitive. Anything with grain in it would break her out in hives from head to toe. And I've just slowly introduced some grain, not corn, not wheat. Soy isn't a grain, but it's not very easy for anybody to digest. um, Definitely not dogs. So with Zelda, I started doing a food that has like rice and oatmeal in it, and she's tolerating that okay. When she was a puppy, oatmeal broke her out in hives because I specifically tried just oatmeal with like canned salmon, and it didn't agree with her. Gave her diarrhea, broke her out in hives. But now she's not as sensitive. Um, so when she was a puppy, yeah, I was doing grain free up until like maybe 6 months ago. Not even with treats. I was just like being very strict about it, and now she's okay. So I'm fine with it. But yeah, you just want to make sure that we're not taking important things away from their diet if they don't need it to be taken away. With food, we just want to stay away from a whole bunch of filler, which wheat is used as a filler, corn is used as a filler. Dogs need the protein in the food. They need the vitamins in the food. They need the fiber. Um, so there's nothing wrong with, if your dog's not allergic to wheat, okay, but it shouldn't be the first ingredient, shouldn't be the second ingredient. Corn shouldn't be the first ingredient, shouldn't be the second ingredient. Corn is used as a bulk filler, so it's to make the dogs feel full, and it also makes them poop a lot. So that's your choice. But I choose not to do that. You'll find that if a food has corn in it, they're required to eat more of it, and they poop like 2 to 3 times more. I've talked to people, and they're like, their dog was pooping 6 times a day. That's not normal. That's because the food that they were feeding had filler, and they weren't aware. Um, okay, so what else do we have going on here? The grain-free articles. Oh. Yeah. Is that what that article is about, Maria? Oh, let's see. I don't know. I don't really like to get into like the the calling out of the brands. I don't want anybody coming at me. um so yeah, I mean, that's all up to you. I don't have a certain brand that I promote. I switch Zelda around, but I always turn it around and look at the label and make sure that I know what I'm buying. You don't want to buy a food where you're paying for the brand and you're like the ingredients are not great. So we want to make sure that we're paying for what we want them to eat and what's good for them. And they need meat in the food. They need, they need an appropriate amount of fat and fiber for their age and their activity level and stuff like that. Does that make sense? If anybody new is in here, say hi. If you have any questions, please say hello, and let me know what questions you have. Trying to see what else I have in this bag here, or box. Okay, good. Yeah, so, you know, the food discussion, there's just, at one point, there wasn't that many dog food brands, and there wasn't that many good ones at that. So, it was like, it's crazy because when I was in high school, the Dalmatian that I had, I fed her Gravy Train. That is like one of the worst foods. It's maybe like one step up from like Old Roy at the Walmart. I think that's a Walmart brand. But Gravy Train, like you put the hot water on it and like stirred it up and it would make this gross, disgusting, thick gravy that was like multicolored. It had all kinds of artificial coloring in it, and she loved it. And it would dye her white fur around her mouth and stuff. But there weren't that many good dog food. Like there weren't that many dog foods to choose from then, and there wasn't any education about dog food. Like where I lived, people didn't even take their dog to the vet. The vet was used for like the farm animals, and there was like one vet for the whole county. And that was a livestock vet, but you could take your dog there. Most people for like their vaccines. Uh-oh, I'm getting tired. The dog's vaccines, they would just go buy the vaccines from the feed store and do it themselves. I watched my stepdad do that one time with one of our dogs, and I was like, no, I'll pay for them to get them done. Did somebody say something? It's weird. It's not, the chat isn't staying up here, but it's like popping up randomly, like somebody has said something and then they haven't. So anyway, I guess we kind of covered a lot of random things today, and I should have probably written down, let me see. I'll write it down so I have, I'm gonna have to put a description down on this. All right, so I think we should probably close this out tonight. It's getting a little late, and I'm getting tired. It's been a long day. Okay, I just accidentally closed that window out again. Can everybody see me? Can you hear me, see me? I kind of exited out of the live window there by accident. Okay, good. So anything, you're welcome. I'm glad I could help. I'm gonna try to do this frequently just to, you know, help people out. And then of course I'll be doing the like the instructional videos on Zoom. So if anybody's interested in doing like a one-on-one private video training behavior session with me, it would be Zoom, with the Zoom app, and it's really easy to navigate. I would just send you the link, you click on it, and it puts you into the virtual meeting. All right, so you can do it with or without your camera on. I'll have mine on. When I do the group Zooms, you'll have the option of having your camera off or on. It's your choice. With the private Zooms, they are going to be recorded, and then I can go ahead and email the recording to you. That way you can go back and look at it, and you know, if you have any questions or just need to hear some things repeated, it's a really good tool to have. So it automatically records it. I just copy the link and I email it to you after the session. With the Zoom packages, you could do a one Zoom session for $59 for one session. It's about 90 minutes. Or sorry, not 90 minutes. That's not right. The one session of a Zoom is 60 minutes. It's 1 hour. And then if you do the package for the Zoom sessions, it's 4 sessions for $200. So you get a discount of $9 off per session if you do the package. And so you will have the recordings after each session emailed to you, and you can go back and look at them at any time. It's encrypted so that you can view it. I don't think you'll be able to share it with anyone, but you can view it yourself. And I think it doesn't expire. I just need to double check in on that. But I think it doesn't expire as long as I keep it in my cloud. It doesn't expire. All right. So if you're interested in Zoom, contact me. It's JasmineTheDogTrainer at gmail.com. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. Please like the video. Please go follow me on Instagram. It's Jasmine the Dog Trainer. TikTok is Jasmine the Dog Trainer. And Facebook is Jasmine the Dog Trainer. Surprise! Oh, and my website is JasmineTheDogTrainer.com. Just made it really easy for everything. So yeah, if you guys need me, I am available mostly. If I'm not available to respond to you, my colleague Maria will. She'll contact you and get you scheduled. My schedule has been getting a little crazy lately. So Maria is a professional dog trainer, and kind of making her come out of retirement to help me out. So if you need urgent help and I can't fit you into my schedule, Maria can help you. So we're double teaming this and just navigating some things. And what we're trying to do is get up to 1,000 followers on my TikTok so that we can do a double team on TikTok for the live session. And that way both of us can be on a split screen. I think we're trying to figure out how to do it on here too, but it seems a little complicated, but we'll figure it out. Neither one of us are super tech savvy, but we're determined. All right, so I will talk to you guys later, and we're gonna call it a night. It's been an hour and 22 minutes. That's a long time. All right, so yes, share the video. If you feel inclined to share the video, please do so. It would help me out a lot. Like the video, and thank you for your participation. All right, guys, you have a good night. Bye. I don't know how to exit out of this.